ventilation, and the hammer, Thor's hammer, like Thor's dog in Swedish, Thor's day. And today I will comment on, do a wrap up of 3 issues of Economist. And here's one of ad cover. So it's the thought that counts, and I will end on that also. The take the Economist is doing with the paper magazine, electronic, and also in audio format. So we will start. I had the title here, Rush Talk Radio and Left-leaning is right, question mark. We'll talk about politics and different sides, and I could recommend you to check out allsides.com in order to get different perspectives and see how the different articles out there in new media and mainstream media is tilted maybe to the left or to the right, or so-called in the middle. And as you know, before we have talked about that, in the middle doesn't have to be that it's right. And I'm getting to think about John Cleese, what's the time clock there, and saying, taking driving directions and asking left, taking left, and the person beside him said right, like yes, that's correct, and then he drives to the right again. So in this issue, February 20th to 25th, so it's like a weekly magazine, they talk about recently here that Limbaugh of Talk Radio profile, his overture here, and it's saying Talk Radio, Tower of Babel, Rush Limbaugh galvanized and embodied the modern American right. And also it's cool, he's smoking a cigar, there you have his microphone, and the subject, or how to say, for the image, the title there, image title, Poisoning the Airwaves. So you could hear what they are leaning to there, the Economists. I will come back to that. First I will now check here if it's working on Facebook. Yeah, it's working, so then I could have it up and running here also. So, and I will take a sip here now, because I will standing on my soapbox here soon. But we'll do a commercial break first before we talk about Rush Limbaugh. So, what's haps? I'm broadcasting this on Thursday at 9 a.m. Central European Time. And the magazine that I'm talking is Economist, is often published, coming out and delivered on Monday in the mail, and I think it's already digital. You could get it end of the week for the coming week. So, what's HAPS? What you're watching now? They offer a free world-class broadcasting tools, community eager to collaborate, and a simple way for viewers to support creators financially. So that's, you could give me a thumbs up, high fives, and you could give me awards also. And if you sign up here for free with my invite link, that's Lyceum there, then you could get 100 coins that you could give to me and others and content creators, and that could add up sooner or later. Maybe I could afford to buy some more tea here. Cheers. It's more like coffee change, you can say, but as a VIP status, I got that thanks to Eileen Smith, Eileen on Twitter, that invited me to this service. So you will see a donate button, also yellow button, and there you could click and give me on a subscription, like donate similar to Patreon on a regular basis, or one-time donation. And it's saying give me a coffee or buy me a coffee or something like that. And I have asked them to add, could you add the text buy me a tea, but it's the standard thing is coffee, so that's okay. I think, even talking about then segue here into Rush Limbaugh, I think Rush Limbaugh had his own iced tea, calling it something with tea party or something like that. So, and that's the thing, the description of when you're saying left or right, and learn about that. Where are you on the scale? And I say it's more like a circle. But if you have to pinpoint me, I'm probably more to the right, according to the mainstream view, than to the left. And there, if you go to allsides.com, they had a thing about the different mainstream media and new media and the magazines like The Economist, and they position there in their chart like The Economist was left-leaning. And reading then about Rush Limbaugh, you could think about that, because it's a bit critical, you could say, at least. And I think maybe Rush was also a mixed bag, and I couldn't listen much to that, because it was, of course, in America mostly. But sometimes when I was studying and working there, I listened to it. And he had his show, and it was very popular. And in a way, he was leading, as they said, the galvanized. So he was leading the Republican revolution in a way. And also that radio compared to TV, and now you could also say new media, is for thinking individuals. You could listen, you could take it in, chew it, and think about it. And what he did commentary on daily news and read articles, and then put his view out there, and then he had callers that called in, and they had a discussion, debate, discourse. So he was very early in that way, and also I think leading up to podcasters in a way. Radio is different from podcasting, but it has similarities also. So again, check out The Economist article there about Rush Limbaugh, and I recommend, if you want to have another take on it and a great review of Rush Limbaugh's career, you should check out Scott Holleran's newsletter, Autonomia. I will include that in the show notes here also. So search on Scott Holleran, and he has a subscription there, paid subscription, $7 per month, and you could get his reviews on movies, his thoughts about philosophy, politics, economics, and other things, arts. So check out his Scott Holleran and his newsletter. It's powered on a service called Substack. And talking about subscription, I like The Economist because I get everything in 1 week covered from all kind of areas. So I want to continue with it, but it has a cost to it, and it's about $7 per issue, or even if you buy it at a newsstand, it's $8. So I would appreciate to get some donation and some support in this matter, so I could continue with the subscription. What I like is of course, it's a bit fine print to read, but with the digital thing, you could listen to the articles now, and they also have news briefs, and excuse me, they have a podcast also now. So I like that. So now now going out in there. And now I'll take on my shades here, because now it's serious thing here. They have an article called Deadly Inspirations. So the ideas of the far right. So I will read that and come back to that, because you have this so-called alt, like alternative right movement, and you had these people who are storming the Capitolium, and more or less anarchists and others, but on the right side of the spectrum, and that's you should take notice of, and be prepared to defend yourself against these kind of elements, dark elements. So on the next issue here, I'll see what the time is. As I said, I'm doing a challenge, so it's around 10 minutes. Then it's the tech dust out, like there you could have a force hammer. I have to get this toy, like Marvel Comics, so I could do sound effects. So you have the poof, pang, all kind of things like that. And it's like the big tech, Facebook, Google, Twitter, in a fight about the marketplace in order to get market shares, but also about trying to go to the regulators and others to shut them down. And you see this deplatforming, and latest case was Parler, that Facebook and others was shutting down. Of course, they have so-called right to do that, but they control many of the outlets there, and then you could discuss if Parler, like that, following terms of service and agreement, but they shut down due to peer pressure and also this political correctness, then you could start wondering what could happen in the future. But as I said, as a free marketer, the market will take care of this if you let it be free, like the French word laissez-faire. So please let the market be free, and it will solve by itself. But there you could read the tech big dust up, and we'll see how that pan out in the future. So that was the second issue. What more? And also we will have here in this the late one, bouncing back, and I will come back to that. Excuse me, the welfare state for a post-COVID world, and that could be also what you could wonder about, how the state is taking care of this situation. Excuse me. Cheers. And you could also ask if I should do, or you should let the private industry take care of this in a regular way. So in the latest issue here, March 6 and 12, I have an article that I will then send a link to my co-host Blair, and if you're a subscriber, I could read it digital. If I send a link, you could read the beginning, and then you have to, I think, I'm not sure if you could buy separate articles, or maybe that could be a thing, or you have like a trial subscription. So it's saying that, the evangelists, religious type. I'm a social media evangelist, but I'm not a religious person. But they say two nations under God. So what happened after Trump? I mean, after Reagan, he opened the door to the religious right, and that's now a mess with that party, and in a way now it's almost, you could say, destroyed. And the thing is, could it recover in a way? But he opened up the Reagan, and then have continued with the Bushes, and now with Trump, that had invited to prayer at Washington White House and things like that. And listen to the secular foxhole on the episode where we talked to individuals about Thomas Paine and how he was a free thinker. And that's important to put the spotlight on. And again, the separation between church and state. So this article, Two Nations Under God, and what's going on in Trump after Trump, but it would be interesting to see. As I comment, when Joe Biden was taking the oath, he said under God, and you don't have to say that. So we will keep this going and talk more about that. And at the end here, economists have, they say, designed for clearer thinking. And then they promote their app, and there you could read the articles. You have the news brief, and you have the espresso version, like short news, and then you have the podcast. And for me, doing this broadcast, I'm doing it in order to, as a subscriber, to read the magazine and to find nuggets and things that maybe you don't read in other regular newspapers and mainstream media. This is mainstream media in a way, but I like their take on it, even if it's, according to allsides.com, leaning left. But yeah, so check out The Economist, and if you want to support my subscription there and my reading and my curation of these articles, some of them that I pick out, you're welcome to go to Haps and give me some coins, or going to paypal.me/Lindeskog, and that's my last name, my surname, Lindeskog, or search on my name in cyberspace and reach out to me, and so we could talk and have a conversation. And, please give me your feedback, what you think about these broadcasts and what you want me to talk about, and maybe in the future I could invite guests, because that's one service that you could do on Haps, to invite guests. I haven't tested that yet, but that would be interesting to see. Still, as I say, I'm learning to look into the camera, reading my notes, have the lights on, etc., etc., and then distribute it. As I said, this is going on Facebook, Twitter, and the gaming site called Twitch, and maybe in the future also it will be on LinkedIn and other places. Excuse me, I have to drink more tea here. So with that, I say cheerio, and talk to you soon again. And as I said, on Saturday I will have a tea drinking party or some other beverage, and that will be around 9 p.m. Central European time, or later, depending on my party mood, so to speak. So thanks for watching, and talk soon again.